Welcome to Carl's Garden, episode number 2. In today's episode, we're going to take the rose bush from the previous episode and plant it. Now, Carl's found a perfect spot to plant this. As we said in the last episode, it needs 5 to 6 hours of sunlight. I'm Josh.
And I'm Carl.
I'm here to ask the questions.
And I'm here to answer them.
So let's go plant this rose bush.
I'm ready. I've got my pruners, my gloves, my boots on. Let's do it. We're now at the location where we're going to plant our rose. This is a pink peace rose. It's locally grown. It's an older variety suited for this situation in this location. The bloom on it has a really good fragrance. Anytime you can purchase something that's locally grown, you're better off. Even the fertilizer is made down in Tempe, Arizona. The cow manure that we're going to put around it is also local. So we'll get started moving the gravel away, then we'll dig the hole, and then we'll plant it, and we'll go from there. We now have the gravel moved back, so we'll start digging the hole. The ideal hole size is, some say 3 times the diameter of the container that the rose is in. I like to use maybe 1 to 1/2. If you go too much, you're not helping the plant actually all that much. You just need to give it a good deep hole, plant it to right height, and we'll show you how to do that too, and have enough space on the sides for the roots to grow. So we'll now start digging the hole. Now we have our hole dug. We'll see what the root system looks like. Any excess soil comes out of the bucket in the bottom of the hole. Actually, it's got a pretty good root system. They're not overly crowded with roots. Some people like to feather them out. I usually do a little bit on the bottom just so the roots will spread out and go down towards the hole instead of going out. We'll see if it's a proper height to plant. There's a couple of big roots coming out. It's pretty good rose. For here it's a little bit deep, but we can fix that. Kick in a little soil, get rid of that rock. Check it again. Still may be a little high for my liking. In colder climates, most of the time you want to cover the bud union so that it doesn't freeze. But usually in the colder climates where I plant them at home, I like to watch that union. That way if I see anything sprout out at the bottom, I know it's a different rose, so I can cut that out. Because you have to provide a little bit of protection during colder weather anyway. So here it's not that big of a deal. So we'll go ahead at this time. It's still a little bit too deep. We'll use some cow manure. I love cow manure. This is composted wheat or weed seed free. You can use cow manure, horse manure, whatever type of manure you've got. In Arizona, we have a lot of clay, so we're not worried too much about putting peat moss or anything in the soil to help keep moisture in, because the clay retains the moisture. The roses do love cow manure. Always wear good protective gloves. That's actually getting in pretty good shape. So we'll put a little more in it. And you can use a shovel if you need to. It's an old-fashioned way of doing it. Lay it down so you can find kind of where that union is. So we're about the right height that we need to be. We'll go ahead and put fertilizer in it. And if you're kind of worried about putting too much fertilizer, the common practice is to go ahead and plant your plant, then put it around the swale that you've got. That way when moisture hits it and rainfall, it trickles down to the roots. That way you don't have to worry as much about over fertilizing. The rows will need fertilize. In the desert, the heat takes a lot of the fertilizer and makes it produce a lot quicker, so it uses it up faster. So here you may have to, instead of fertilizing every 3 months, you may have to do it every 2 months. Back in some of the colder climates, you can actually feed. I always like to feed my roses maybe every 6 to 8 weeks, and I used a lot of liquid fertilizer on them also, so that helps them too. So use about a cup, and I always just kind of estimate it because I'll put some more around it probably in 3-4 weeks and give it a good start. There shouldn't be any transplant shock to this rose because it's container grown. It was raised in the field and moved into a container where they could process it for 45 to 60 days. That's why you've got some feeder roots going out. So shouldn't be any transplant shock to this rose whatsoever. So. Oh yeah, we're looking good. Then you want to backfill with the same soil that come out. Some people buy extra soil and do away with the soil that's here and then put different soil in, but you're actually changing the soil makeup, so it's actually more detrimental to the plant than using what you have naturally. So any amendments you use to it, you can actually backfill with that too. Just make sure you mix it in with the soil. And once I get the rose pretty much like I want it, being we don't most time in Arizona use any kind of hardwood mulch or even pine bark. Some of that applications we do. I still love to use it. But on this one, once I get it where I want it, then I'll probably use some more cow manure right in around the top of it. So put about 2/3 of the dirt around. Then what we want to do is make sure we kind of steady the plant so it doesn't tilt. It's setting pretty good. So then what you want to do is walk around it. That gets rid of any air pockets. Very important. You don't want your roots to dry out. So now that we've got it kind of walked in, we can finish filling around it, and then we'll put some more cow manure on top. We now have most of the soil put around the plant. I always like to make a little swale around it to catch rainwater that comes in. This one will be on a drip system, so we'll adjust the water so it does get about an inch of irrigation a week. And I can still see my bud union in case some of it sprouts out below. I don't know what kind of rose that is. Now we'll put a little more cow manure because this cow manure doesn't say it has any plant food analysis to it, which most time it's going to have about 1% of at least 3 of the numbers that you need for your fertilization, your NPK. spread this around. It'll just add for a little more area to kind of help protect the rose from some of the heat after it heats up here in a few weeks. And then we'll put the gravel back in on top of it, and then we'll check it periodically over the next 2 to 3 months. As soon as we have a bud to open up, then we'll record that and then show you, and we'll see what the rose does. Now we have the plant installed. We've got a little bit of mulch back around it with the cow manure, and then we've put the rocks back on it. We've got the drip system where it can start. After you plant the rose, I like to keep it, go ahead and give it a good drink of water. Every couple of days, give it some more water, kind of help it along for the first 7 to 10 days. Then after that, you can let the drip system pretty much take over. So go ahead and give it some water now, just to kind of settle the soil good, to get rid of the air pockets, and get it started off with a good healthy drink. If you're a person that likes to use starter fertilizer, some people like to mix it in with their water, you can go ahead now, because the granular fertilizer that we put on it, it takes a little while, several days. Some fertilizers, it takes up to 45 days to really become active, depending on how wet your soil gets. So if you want to put some starter fertilizer around it, you can do that too. So that should get a rose off to a good start.
Hope you enjoyed this episode of how to plant the rose bush. Maybe next episode I'll help a little bit.
I hope you do. That was a lot of work.
I was a little bit busy with another project, so I wasn't able to help. But it looked like you did a great job on it. I saw it as I was coming back in.
I think it'll be a good one, and we'll see what it does over the next few months. And like I say, we'll go in, maybe do a little bit of pruning after it grows a while. We may want to adjust the height of one side of the bush to the other or something like that. So, and we'll cut some long stem roses off of it and post those too. So check back.
If you found this video useful, like and share. Comment your questions or topics that you would like for us to cover, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Have a great day. Look, he thinks he's right in the... He's just like, man, I did good.
So
what?
I don't know.
Cow manure, and I've got it by the hole.
I was going to catch her and put her on the table.